Hey guys, it's your girl Deann, and I am coming to you guys again with another video. So guys, I wanted to put together a video about 10 things that I've learned as a flight attendant. And these are just helpful tips, some information that maybe you can use. So guys, I am 3 months into my job, so I don't want to say I'm an expert, but I just want to share some experience and again, maybe some helpful things that you can use if you are serious about being a flight attendant. So guys, please stay tuned for this video. It is a little lengthy because I have 10 points that I want to show you guys or express to you guys. And you know, I'm in my hotel, so forgive me for the jacket. It is a little Whitney Houston in here. And what I mean by that, it is a little nippy. So without further ado, guys, stay tuned and I hope you like the video. If you do, you guys know what to do. Comment, like, subscribe, and here we go. Without further ado. All right, guys, let's talk about money. Yes, baby. Money, money. Yeah, yeah. Money, money. Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry, that came from Players Club, but let me tell you guys a little secret. Just lean in for a second. Come on, a little closer. Just want to tell you something. You're gonna be Baroque. I have no other way to put it, guys. I mean, let's really talk about the money. So number one, if you decided to be a flight attendant to make a lot of money, you are sadly mistaken. And I'm just gonna be all the way real with you guys. You know, when you think about the flight industry or the aviation industry compared to a regular job, for anybody, it is a pay cut. And what I mean by that is that a flight hour is not the same as a regular hour. Meaning that if you work 1 hour at your job, you're going to make $8, $10, $17, whatever the hour rate is. As a flight attendant or in the aviation industry, a flight hour is not the same. We get paid, I believe, when the main cabin door is open to when it closes. Or closes to open, I'm sorry. When the main cabin door closes to when it is open. From that time period, you are getting paid. Any delays, any mishaps, any type of setbacks, whether it's mechanical, weather issues, etc. Sometimes you do not get paid for that. It all depends on the situation, but I know with delays, we do not get paid. So if you're in this job to make a lot of money, again, boo, you are sadly mistaken. So for me, I can only speak from my experience. My last job, guys, I was making $17 an hour. And as a matter of fact, let's do a little math. Get your calculators out and I'm going to show you how much of a pay cut that I took when becoming a flight attendant. Okay, so like I said, my last job, $17 an hour. So I got paid every 2 weeks, okay? So I worked 40 hours a week. So we're going to do $17 times 80 hours because that is a 2-week paycheck for me. So when I do the math, guys, it is $1,360. So again, that is a 2-week period. So let's do that by a month's time. All right, so $17 times 160 hours because it's 4 weeks in a month. So 4, 8, 12, 16. So that math, $2,720. So that is a month's worth of paychecks. That's how much I would make monthly every 2 weeks, gross. This isn't without any type of taxes or anything, guys, just gross. 2 weeks or bi-weekly, 1,360. Within a month's time, I would gross $2,720 at my last job. Now let's talk about me being a flight attendant, boo. Now notice the difference, okay? So with my airline, we signed a new contract in May. So the starting rate is $23.56. So again, 23.56. So we're going to take that starting rate and we'll do 2 weeks because I get paid bi-weekly. I'm sorry, not bi-weekly, semi-monthly. So the 5th and the 20th, okay? So we are guaranteed 75 hours a month. So I'm going to divide that 75 hours by 2, since I get paid 2 times a month. That will be 37 and a half hours. So we're going to take the starting rate, 23.56 times 37 and a half hours. Now guys, I would gross $883.50. That's all gross, okay? Now, if we're doing it in a month's time, right? Because I am guaranteed, whether I fly or not, my airline is going to pay me 75 hours a month. So 23.56 times 75. So what I would gross in a month's time is $1,767. Now this is where I lost money, going from my last job to this job. So let's see what the loss was bi-weekly. Since I get paid semi-monthly and I got paid bi-weekly at my last job. So remember, at my last job, if I worked 80 hours in a 2 weeks period, I made $1,360. Now with my new job, I make, remember, 23.56 times 37 and a half hours, because that's half of 75. So remember, it was 1,700, I'm sorry, that's wrong guys, $883.50. So I'm going to subtract 1,360. That was 80 hours at my last job, and then 37 and a half hours with this new job, because that's bi-weekly. That is a loss of $476.50. That's if we're comparing the bi-weekly or semi-monthly paycheck, okay? Now, what about in a month's time? How much money did I lose by becoming a flight attendant? So at my last job, if I worked 160 hours, remember 40 hours a week, in a month's time, I made $2,720. Now with this new job, a month's time, so again, I get paid 75 hours guaranteed, whether I fly or not. 23.56 times 75, that's the $1,767. So I'm going to subtract $2,720, which is 160 hours at my last job, with my new monthly hours of 75 of my airline. Guys, that is a loss of $953. So you guys can see the pay cut that I took. So guys, I really want you guys to understand something. When you are selecting an airline, you have to ask yourself, and this should be something you can find online. I think every airline has their starting rate. Compare what you're making now, compare your living expenses, and ask yourself, if it was subtracted or cut in half, can you survive? That's what this is all about. You know, survival is that you can prepare for this, but honestly guys, there's really no way to prepare. You can save a lot of money, but unless you got 40,000 lying around, you really cannot prepare, because this can be something that can happen a year or two. It just really depends on your airline. And so that's what I want you guys to understand, is that for me, this is a pay cut. For most of you guys, it's going to be a pay cut. So if you're coming into this industry to make a lot of money, it's not going to happen at first. It takes time. The longer you're with an airline, the more money you make. The better trips you get, the more control you have over your schedule. But I don't want you guys going into this thinking you're going to be rich. It's not that kind of life. You really have to love what you do, and you really got to make sacrifices when it comes to your income. I know for me guys, I had a rude awakening, because I got money, you know, my paychecks were not the same, so I have to accommodate. There's a very good chance you can't be broke. And when I'm talking about broke, I'm talking about, like, do you guys know playing Monopoly? Remember that there's a card where he's like this. He is completely broke. That could be you. That can very well be you. So be very careful. Take this very serious. because it is going to be a pay cut. You might have to sell things. You might have to pawn things. You might have to donate plasma. I mean, I hit rock bottom recently when I had to move my stuff from Arizona, from my old place, and put it in storage. That was another expense. Now, see, my last job, not only did I make it, I could make it with 80 hours, but I got overtime. It's hard for me as a reserve to get overtime. I have to fly over 82 hours. So they're going to pay me for 75. So guys, this is the reason why I pick up on my days off. Those hours I pick up on my days off is not accounted for on top of my 75. That's a whole separate bucket. That's why I'm sharing with you guys, because I don't want you guys to be misled. I don't want you guys to think that you're going to be rich or make a lot of money. No, you got to put in the time and effort, and you have to save. That's why I know my budget. I know I have a car insurance that's $250 a month, car payment $341. I have a cell phone bill that's $75. I have a storage fee of $101. I have to pay for my crash pad $250 plus $40 in gas, that's $290. So I know the bills that I have. That is the reason why I work so hard, because if I don't, I'm not going to be able to afford those bills that I cannot get rid of. You see what I'm saying? So before you come into this industry, ask yourself, can you survive with what that airline is paying, and by the bare minimum? Because I don't know how other airlines work when it comes to reserve and picking up and stuff like that. But you got to be very careful, guys, because you can be broke. And once you've hit rock bottom, guys, sometimes it's really hard to come back up. So just be mindful, guys, that being a flight attendant, it's a good career, but you may be broke. All right, guys, the next is training. So I can only speak for my airline, but in general, guys, you have to remember with training, are you going to get paid? What is the time frame? Can you sacrifice to take time off for training? Because I know most airlines, if you have something that comes up, it may take you out of the running from becoming an America's Next Top Model. You may not can apply for the airline again. So there's a lot of things you need to think about with training. What I will say is always do your research with this. With my airline, because I can only speak from experience, our training was 3.5 weeks. I put the air quotes because I say 3 weeks, because we were in class for 6 days a week. So 6, 12, 18. And then we had 3 days where, we took our final, orientation, and, HR. So 21 days. That's why I say 3 weeks, but we could say 3.5 weeks. But during that time, guys, you have to be mindful of the type of things that you are learning. Like training for me is the core for a flight attendant. Most airlines might do 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 6.5, 8 weeks. Ours is 3.5 weeks of training. So with that being said, we have a lot of material being crammed into a small amount of time. You see, with 8 weeks, you could stretch out the material. Therefore, when it comes to testing, you have more time to study and pass in that nature. But with our training for my airline, it was very difficult for me. So you have to ask yourself, what is the guideline? So for my airline, when it came to training, it was 90% or better. 1 retake. All right. And if you failed that 1 retake, you went home. So take all of that into consideration when it comes to that, because it's very, very hard. 3.5 weeks of training, you're learning all this new material. So it's like you learn it 1 or 2 days, test it, right? Proficiency tests. There's many different tests, and every airline is different. I know you got to do door drills, water evacuation. There might be a flight or speech announcement. So everyone is different, but training is the core of a flight attendant. So you got to ask yourself, you've come this far, so you cannot play around. I think a lot of people with my airline, we have our training in a beautiful resort in Cheyenne, Wyoming. So you come there, you have a roommate, you got all this beautiful surrounding, and sometimes people forget about training. They're focusing on making friendships. They're focusing on partying. They're focusing on taking good pictures for the internet. They're focusing on what trips they're going to take. You need to get all that out the window. When you go to training, your primary focus is to pass and get your wings. That's what it should be. Also, you got to take into consideration is your training paid? My training was paid. So in training, guys, I did receive 2 paychecks. My first paycheck was $396. Second paycheck was $363. Now we didn't get paid a certain amount. It was just a per diem. So that's what they paid us for that. But can you afford to be in training for whatever amount of time your airline has made for you without getting paid or getting paid to the end? Because we got paid, I got paid a week before graduation and I believe the day of graduation. But can you wait that long? Because when you go into training, guys, one, you have to decide is, do you have support? Do you have to sell your place? Like, are you going to be in financial distress? Because there's so many things you need to decide. When I went to training, my sister was at my place. I had money saved up. I didn't have to make any changes until I graduated and had to relocate to another base. So there's a lot of things to decide before you go to training. And you know, we are human. Things happen. Life is so unpredictable. One moment you're here, the next morning or next moment someone died, something tragic happened. With some airlines, you can defer training, but some you can't. So you have to really do your research on that and ask yourself, is this something that you're able to commit to? And can you survive? Then you got to ask yourself, what if I don't pass? For me, that was a really big fear, guys. And I'm not trying to scare you. This is only the real. When I was in training, I cried a couple of times to my dad because I've came too far. As you guys knew, my last job, they loved me. I was there 2.5 years. Never missed a day. They loved me at my last job. For me to leave that job where I was financially secure, my job was it was set for me. Like, I didn't have to go to work and worry about taking a test. I was on that job for 2.5 years. I knew my role. I love my employees. I made good money. I was able to accommodate for myself. To go from security to the uncertain was crazy. And the one thing I thought about is, if I should not pass and get kicked out of training or dismissed, can I go back to my old job? And that is what you need to ask yourself. Can you bounce back? My last job, I could have went back, but it would be too embarrassing for me because I left everything to risk my dream, which was to become a flight attendant. So there's a lot of sacrifices you have to make for this career. Training is one of them. You have to decide is, can you survive with getting paid or without getting paid? Can you take that time, make that commitment to train, and can you focus on that? Any little distraction and you're off your A game and you're being sent home. And that is the worst thing you can do, is get dismissed from training. Some airlines, they have a strict rule. Well, you can, I don't know, reapply 6 months, a year, I'm not sure. But to be dismissed from training, guys, it's kind of like a downer. It is the end to a dream. But I will say, just before you go into it, ask yourself that question. Like, you need to just do a self-check and see if it's something that you're able to do. Because training is serious, and training is the primary core of a flight attendant's job, because it all revolves around safety. So just keep that in mind, guys, when you are selecting your airline, and you'll be fine. When I became a flight attendant, some of the changes I noticed was, one, my sleep pattern. So if you're one of those people who has a set time, you get up, go to sleep, go to the gym, just forget about it. When you become a flight attendant, your schedule is going to be out of your control until you hold a line. Okay? And so when I became a flight attendant, I realized that me going to bed at 10 o'clock, it might be a time I'm in the air flying. You know, me having a red eye, when you're asleep, I'm in the air flying. So I have to get up very early, come in very late from a trip, and that all takes a great deal of stress on your body, adjusting to that. Then you think about different time zones, you know, things of that nature. Is your sleep pattern is going to be all the way disrespectful. You're not going to have no control. Then you got to take into effect with reserve. So for me being on reserve, there's a 13-hour period when I'm on reserve that I have to be alert or able to answer my phone when crew scheduling calls. Well, I tend not to sleep because I'm afraid if I go to sleep, I'm not going to be up to answer that call. And as a probation, well, on probation as a reserve flight attendant, that is bad. So again, if you have a set time that you do things, you need to get that all out the window, because you might be doing a red eye flight. You might be coming in late from a flight. You just have to adjust to your constantly changing schedule, especially on reserve. And you know, as a flight attendant, you are unable to sleep on the aircraft while you are on duty. You could sleep while deadheading, and that's when the company is paying you to go from one destination to another, or when you're non-rev, meaning you are a commuter. I'm trying to get from this place to that place, whatever. You're able to sleep in those two examples. But if you are working on duty and you are caught sleeping, you can get fired. And see, and it's really hard not to, because you think about it. Like for instance, last night on my flight from Denver to Philly, so they turned the lights off, right? So it's a dark atmosphere with a little bit of light, you know, a little ambiance, you know, then they got the air flowing. You're sitting down, you're reading. You can easily just do one of these and that's what you see people do. You can't do that, but you got to be alert. You have got to be able to answer a passenger's call, to do in-flight service. So I keep myself active, because if I just sit in my seat, I will fall asleep, especially last night because I was tired. So I do trash service, I read, and sometimes reading is dangerous. I refrain from eating a heavy meal. If I eat a large meal, like bring lunch, and I just sit there and eat, I will get the itis, I will fall asleep. But you can't do it. Passengers can, but you cannot, because you will get fired. So just keep that in mind. Your sleep pattern is going to be all out of whack. Now, changes in your body. So the one thing I had to adjust to was my ears popping. I remember, you know, as you fly first time, or if you don't fly all the time, your ears are going to pop. Now I'm used to it. I try to unpop my ears, but sometimes it's very uncomfortable. And as a flight attendant, you can't wear earplugs. If I have earplugs on, how can I hear if there's an emergency? I can't, because my earplugs are in. So that's frowned upon. I can't chew gum in uniform to prevent my ears from being popped. So you just have to constantly yawn, sometimes drinking water, like doing things like that will, you know, get your ears from not popping, but it's very uncomfortable. I had to become very accustomed to my ears doing that. Another thing, guys, is bloating. You know, they say that when you are 30,000 feet in the air, your body is going to bloat. And ladies, we have a menstrual cycle. We have hormones. So our body can retain water, which causes us to bloat. So they always say when you're getting a uniform, get it a size bigger because of that. You don't want to get in the air and realize that it was too small, because now your buttons are popping off or it's uncomfortable. So just keep that in mind, that you have to refrain, because most airline foods, it contains a lot of sodium to preserve the snack or the food. So with that being said, sodium is bad for your body. So you have to be mindful, because ladies, we will bloat and your body will tend to expand. Another thing they encourage us to do is to drink a lot of water, because when you are so high in the air, you can become dehydrated. A lot of people drink coffee, soda, juices, tea, etc. I drink a lot of water, because it takes an effect on your body when you're dehydrated. And as a flight attendant, you cannot afford to be sick or lose any time because you being dehydrated where you can pass out. So I do drink a lot of water. Your skin is going to be dry. My lips tend to get more dry. My hands, they get drier because I wash my hands a lot. So I always carry lotion, very good lotion, and I always make sure my lips are moisturized. because the one thing I don't want is to be smiling at someone and my lips are cracked where they're bleeding. That can very well happen. Some people get dry skin, face be dry. I've seen flight attendants put face moisturizer because in the air, honey, there's hardly no, moisture, not moisture, but air in there. We are enclosed in an aircraft with people. So, sorry guys. So that's going to have an effect on your body, and it's going to take a toll on your skin. Another thing, guys, you got to be aware of when it comes to that is getting sick. You guys hear me coughing. Can you imagine being enclosed in an aircraft with all these people? They're coughing, they're sneezing, they're touching things. There's no type of sanitation, right? I always carry Clorox wipes with me. I carry airborne vitamin C tablets. Now I'm starting to get emergency because of this cough I have, me getting sick. But when you are enclosed in an area for a period of time, and this is your job, you will get sick. So a healthy flight attendant is a flight attendant that is going to be around a lot longer. And meaning that when you are healthy, you won't get sick. You won't be calling off from work. So your immune system, you have to prepare for this new atmosphere of germs. Always wash your hands. That's why my hands are dry. Always wear gloves, because I've seen some nasty things on the aircraft. You just never know, but you don't want to go blindly and start touching things, because you'll forget. You just touched something dirty, now your hands is on your face, or you're eating something, or you're rubbing your eye. You got to be careful of not getting sick, because like me being on reserve and on probation, there's not too many times I can call out saying because I'm sick. I want to keep my body healthy. I want to have a healthy immune system. So if I'm sick, I'm not productive. I'm no help to anyone, and I don't want to spread the sickness around to other passengers. So you got to be aware of your immune system, your surroundings. Always protect yourself, keep yourself healthy, whether it's a climate change, and that's another thing, going from hot to cold. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona. I am not used to Denver's cold weather. That's how I got sick. That's why I still have this nasty cough, guys. So I apologize if I cough during the video. But you have to maintain a healthy lifestyle. You want to not get sick. You want to avoid that at all costs. So just take the precautions when you are on the aircraft. The last change, guys, that I noticed really is fitness and diet. Well, a couple more changes, but let's just start with fitness. I don't work out like I used to. Now that I'm a flight attendant, I'm so lazy. I don't go to the gym. I had a set time when I did work out. Now I don't. And it's really no excuse, because most of the hotels I travel to, they have a gym. They may not have a full-on gym, but they have a treadmill. They have an elliptical. You can lift weights. I just choose not to work out. And I have a membership to Planet Fitness that I'm paying for and I'm not using. But if you have a set gym schedule where you work out, you may or may not keep up with your fitness routine, which is not a good idea, because you don't want to gain weight as a flight attendant. Those jump seats, they come a certain size. You have to be able to put that seatbelt across your lap and to put the seatbelt over your chest. With the jump seat, they do not have a seatbelt extension. And they'll tell you in training, they'll do a jump seat fitting, but you want to make sure that you are healthy enough where if something were to happen, your weight will not be a disadvantage to evacuating someone from an aircraft, a lot of passengers. They want you to be healthy enough where you're able to lift something 50 to 60 pounds, like pulling the door off to evacuate, or pushing that service cart that can be heavy. So you got to take into effect that your weight has everything to do with your job. The more out of shape you are, the harder it is for you to perform your duties. Your weight does get in the way. And sometimes passengers, they look at you crazy like, wow, you're a flight attendant? It's like this, guys, right? Think of it like this. I've seen personal trainers who were bigger than me. And I'm looking at them like, really? You're going to teach me how to lose weight and you don't follow your own advice? We are safety professionals. Your appearance is everything in the aviation industry. Passengers are going to look at you and they're going to be in disbelief. How did you get this job? Because you are a bigger person and they don't know what's going on. They just think about, if my life was in your hands, could you save my life? And that's what it really boils down to. So I need to get back in the gym so I can get my fitness on so I don't become that person. And the last thing I noticed, guys, is diet. Diet is all out of whack. You're eating 3 o'clock in the morning. You're eating dinner at 10 o'clock at night. I don't have a set schedule when it comes to food anymore. I eat what I eat and I go to bed. You know, I just had a very delicious Denny's. Guys, it is like 8 o'clock at night. I had it around 6, right? If I was going to bed, that's bad. All those heavy carbs, I'm going to bed, right? It's not good for your body. I know that. You guys see the kind of things I eat. I have no way with my airline to warm up my food. So dinner for me needs to be warmed up. In this case, like for instance, I don't have a microwave here. I just have a refrigerator. So the things that I would bring to warm up, I am unable to warm up. So what do? DoorDash, fast food. That all puts weight in your body. And that all defeats the purpose of you being healthy and saving money. So I need to monitor my diet because it is out of whack. I eat breakfast very late, dinner at very rude hours. And I can't continue to go on, but this is my fault. You have some people who are able to maintain their diet, sleep, fitness. Nothing happens to them. I haven't really figured this out. Again, guys, I am 3 months into this job. So I need to figure this out, and I need to start doing it now because it's only going to affect my future in this industry. You know, I have to be healthy. I have to be in shape. And these little things affects everything that I do. You don't want a flight attendant who is, not alert, who's unable to perform their duties because of these reasons, because they're tired, because they're lethargic, or whatever the reason may be. So these are just things that I've noticed with changes in my body. Maybe you guys might know some, but things that I need to work on because, like I said, as time goes on, it will only get worse. But hey, that is the life of a flight attendant, right? Guys, so this is kind of tricky. If you're in a relationship or looking for a relationship, right, it's going to be hard as a flight attendant because it puts a strain on any type of relationship, friendship, etc. I believe in love at first flight, but hey boo, it hasn't happened yet. So only from my experience, I am single, I have no kids, not married, etc. I have very limited family, so I really don't have too many people that really miss me. I got a couple, but it's not like a lot of people, right? Somebody misses me, just not a lot. So when you decide to become a flight attendant, you have to make that decision. Can you be away from your loved one, your family, your friends for a long period of time? When you are on reserve, you may have to move to another base. You may not can travel back home as often as you like. Will your kids understand when you're not able to be there for the holidays, for their birthday, for their basketball games, for sometimes graduation, things of that nature? Will your spouse or your loved one or your partner, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, will they understand if you're not able to call them all the time, to see them, to spend time with them, that you are unable to fly them out because, again, your benefits, it all depends on your airline, right? For me, 90 days. 90 days for my buddy passes to become effective. And as far as my benefits, guys, I believe it was 30 days. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure about the benefits, but every airline has a time frame for their benefits. I mean, I just got my buddy pass is only 28, but all that is standby. Your family, with my airline, your immediate family flies for free. And when I mean they fly for free, meaning they don't have to pay a fee. Like I don't have to pay a fee when I fly on any airline. So when I mean immediate family, I mean parents, spouse, domestic partner, children. Your sisters, your cousins, your aunts and all that, that would be a buddy pass with my airline. But my immediate family flies for free. I don't have it. And then even with that, guys, it's on standby, right? Everything is standby. So you have to take into accountability the strain distance will be on a relationship. Now, this is why in this industry, well, actually any job, A lot of affairs and stuff happen right there because it's such a small space. You can be married, but you're flying with someone that you fly with often. You see them more than you see your spouse. Something can happen from that. Or some people, they can't maintain their relationship, so it fails. They get a divorce, they separate. I mean, any type of relationship, you got to ask yourself what's more important. You chasing a career, or you trying to maintain a relationship? If that other person does not understand what you are about to get into, it can fail. Because it's hard. Being away from my family, I mean, if I had kids, I don't know if I can do this job unless my kids were older. But if you have babies, if you have a newly relationship that you're just getting into, if you have friends that think that you are, being mean for not coming to the baby shower or something. I mean, guys, this is a lifestyle change. When you are becoming a flight attendant, you have to be selfish because you have to focus on maintaining this career. This can become a lonely, lonely life. Look where I'm at right now. I'm at a hotel talking to you guys. It's really hard for me to meet a man. One, he's going to try to use me for the little benefits that I do have, baby. Right? Then two, it's going to be hard for me to trust him. He may not be able to trust me. Because look I'm on a layover right now. If I had a dude, how does he know I'm not meeting someone off of Tinder, off of Plenty of Fish? Yes, you have to communicate. But it takes a strain on the relationship. My boo can't fly out to see me because one, I don't have any benefits, or two, he might miss the flight. You got to think about all of that. So whoever is in your corner, whatever support you have, they have to understand that you are focusing on a career. If it came down to it, you got to ask yourself, is this relationship something you're choosing over your career? Point blank, period. You have to be selfish. I'm not saying that you cannot make it work, but in some cases, it does not work out. I've heard, like I said, I've only been in this job for 3 months. I've heard some things, and I have seen some things with my own two eyes, guys. Just keep that in consideration, that it may become a point where your job is going to interfere with your love life. And some people will choose that love life over a career. Right now, guys, I'm focusing on my career. I have plenty of time to fall in love. I may not have another time, boo, to become a flight attendant. So right now, while I'm young and while I'm still fresh and I'm childless and I don't have a ring, I am going to pick this any day over a relationship until that person understands that before I met you, I was a flight attendant, boo. Guys, before I became a flight attendant, I was like you guys, right? I would see these glamorous people walk through the airport looking polished, looking fresh with a whole crew, beautiful, traveling together, right? And then I would just see these pictures on Instagram of people going to countries on a beach with a beautiful sunset, beautiful background. And I'm like, I want to become a flight attendant because they have a glamorous life. Ain't that what Sheila E. said? She wants to lead the glamorous life. But guys, don't believe the hype. Let me tell you, don't believe the hype. What you see on the internet is not real. You got Instagram, how that's like, let's just say internet versus reality. So what I've learned is this, guys, is that as a flight attendant, you will travel. I think that's one of the main selling points for this job, is you can see yourself on a beach somewhere getting a tan with someone serving you a pina coladas, whatever. But guys, you have to put in the time and the work. It doesn't come easy. A lot of what you see on the internet sometimes is false advertisement. I mean, we live in a day and age where everyone wants to flex. Everybody wants to brag. Everybody wants to put a false sense of I'm doing better than you on the internet. This is what you can see, but you don't know the story behind that picture or that video. And I always tell people that because I thought the same thing. Being a flight attendant allows you to travel on standby if you're not buying the ticket, and then that right there is a hassle, right? But a lot of the times, like right now, Let's say I was on a layover in Jamaica, right? Because we do fly to Jamaica. My airline does. Now, I don't know if there's ever a possibility to have a layover in Jamaica, but let's just say if I was and I'm on the beach and I'm drinking water because I don't drink alcohol, and I'm just sipping away and showing you guys the beautiful sun, the clear water, the white sand. You guys would think, oh, it's a glamorous life being a flight attendant because that's what I'm portraying. But behind the scenes, you're not seeing that. And that's what I learned with the internet is don't believe the hype. A lot of the times what you're seeing is not true. Yes, you can have a layover, right, in Puerto Rico, Punta Cana, things of that nature. But a lot of the times when you're going on vacation, you have to pay for that. That all costs money. And if you're broke, why try to splurge on something that you want to have a couple of likes for? Like, it's not worth it to me. You would have your time to do that. You are going to build up your seniority where you can, build your own line or your own schedule where you can take those exotic trips. You make more money. There are some people who are flight attendants that are living that life. We know some of these people. Ashley TV, if I saw her on the beach, I would believe that. Ashley has a huge following. I follow Ashley, right? And I love her vlogs because she's honest and she keeps it real. If you guys seen Ashley when she first started, you appreciate where she's at. So with that being said, she deserves those vacations because she works hard. She's a flight attendant and she has a very active YouTube following. So when I see her in these countries living her best life, I believe it. But when you have someone like me who's on reserve, and if I'm posting pictures of me on a beach and saying this is the life, guys, it's false advertisement. I always want to showcase to you guys the real deal about being a flight attendant. As of right now, I can travel, but I'm not going to really travel, guys, until I hold a line so I can make some money, so I can pay for a nice hotel, pay for those beautiful beaches and stuff of that nature. But you got to work your way up to that level. It doesn't just start when you become a flight attendant. Those people put in time, they put in an effort to get there. Because yes, I can get to a international destination, but how am I going to pay for the hotel room? Right? Because a lot of the times, guys, we get a discount, but it's not a lot. You can get a discount on these hotels, but it's not like you're saving 40%. You see, all of this has a cost. And while I'm on reserve, I have to save money. So I'm not saying you can't go and take exotic vacations or go to nice places, but you really have to save for that destination. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm not saying it's not obtainable, but what you see on the internet, just take it as a grain of salt. Because a lot of times, then you got some women who have what I would call sponsors. Yeah, they have sponsors, and they're able to fly them here, fly them there, put them in a nice room or whatever. So you just got to be sure, because this glamorous life that is advertised is not the real deal. That's why you have Instagram versus reality, internet versus reality. That's why I say do not believe the hype. Do not believe the hype. Because as a flight attendant, your first year is going to be the hardest. And I'm not saying everyone is doing this, guys. I don't want you guys to think like, oh, Deann said everyone I see on the internet posting a video is fake. No. What I'm saying is kind of take everything into consideration, that some of that may not be real. Some of that just might be something for the internet, for clout. You never know. But if you're in this industry, you got to work your way up to elite status, boo. That's how I look at it. I am junior varsity, trying to get to the varsity team. I have to work my way up to get on that elite team. It's going to come with time. That's the reason why Deann is not traveling. Deann is chilling. I will take vacations, trust me. You guys will definitely know because I will vlog about it. But right now, boo, my pockets are not like that. Because I can get there, but where am I going to stay? That's just another expense. How am I going to travel, right? I need a car, Uber. When I think about that, food, drinks, yeah, too much. I can't do it, but again, don't fall for the hype. Guys, if it's too good to be true, guess what? It's too good to be true. guys, if I said this once, I will say it again. The reserve life is so disrespectful, guys. And let me tell you why it is so disrespectful. One, when you are on reserve with some airlines, right? There's really no time frame. So let me just speak for mine. I want to say with my airline, you're probably on reserve for less than a year. During that time, guys, you are on a time period of when crew scheduling can call you. So with my airlines, there are two reserve periods. You have reserve A, reserve B. Reserve A is 12:01 a.m. to 1 p.m. Reserve B is 11 a.m. to 12 a.m. So this really is different because with our last contract, I believe it's 24 hours. With some airlines, when you are on reserve, it is a 24-hour period. So thank God that I don't have to be 24 hours with my airline on reserve. Now, another thing, with some airlines, you can be on reserve for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10, 15, 20. It just all depends on the base. So I'm in Denver. It is a very senior base. I may be on reserve for a year, and that's fine. For me as reserve, I think the hardest part for me is waiting. So if I have 4 days that I am available for a trip and I'm just sitting and waiting around between 12:01 a.m. to 1 p.m., I can't sleep because I want to know, okay, they call me, I want to be alert where I can answer the phone. There's been sometimes, guys, I have slept and I heard my phone ring because I thought I was dreaming and it was them calling me. So I have it to where I keep my earbuds or my headphones in my ear. My phone is on loud, but just in case if I don't hear that ring, I'm going to hear it more in my ear versus not having my headphones in. But it can be a very challenging time. When you are on reserve, that is when you really take effect to your money being affected. Once you become a line holder, then you have more flexibility of your schedule. You make more money. You can pick up trips. Because again, with my airline, I don't know for all airlines, right? But reserve, we make most of our money from that time away from base. That is the $2 an hour. Like for instance, with this trip, every hour I'm away from Denver, I'm making $2 an hour. I'm not necessarily really trying to do the credit hours unless it's a day off. That's when I will notice the credit hours versus the time away from base. But because reserve, the periods, the blocks that we have, time away from base is what keeps us alive. I just got paid actually today. Today's the 5th. My check was $980. A lot of that money came from my per diem. So the more trips I fly when I'm away from base, the more money I make. That's what I do. That's my side hustle that they give us, is that per diem. I'm going to utilize it because I need that money to carry me through, because I know the first check is going to a lot of bills. So for reserve, you will notice the reserve years are the hardest years because you really don't have no control over the money you make. You can try to pick up, you can bid for trips, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get it. That's why I really can't wait to become a line holder, because as a line holder, I can work a lot of hours, minimal hours. I can decide on what trips I want to fly. Crew scheduling, they may have a little bit of an effect on my trips, but reserve, they really have an effect. They call me to assign me a trip. I have to be in contact with them to be released from a trip. You see, when we bid for our trips with my airline, it's first come, first serve. They will make that final determination. So they have a lot of control when you're on reserve. That's the worst part, because ready reserve is like standby. It's like me at a restaurant waiting for my date to show up, a blind date. I've already got my drink. I look pretty. I'm just sitting here waiting, looking at my phone, hoping he might call me. Is he on his way? That's how it feels. It feels like I'm waiting for someone to, call me for a second date. I just be sitting at the airport waiting. Hopefully, someone will call me. And I'm sorry, when I'm talking about sitting at the airport, I'm talking about that sitting couch. We have, couch A, B, C, and D. A is 5 a.m. to 11. B, I believe, is 7. Guys, I really forgot the hours here. But I've said it before, but that ready reserve life, that's a whole different thing. You're at the airport, but I'm talking about when you are actually on reserve and you are waiting for crew scheduling to call you for a trip. I just hate that waiting game. That's why I bid for trips like I bid for this one. I know I got a trip. I'll be gone for 3 days. I'm going to go here, go there. I can plan accordingly. But if it's a last minute thing, sometimes you're not prepared for it, and you have to because you are on reserve. So that's why I put in my vlogs. I'm like, if you guys want to donate, you can donate, because the reserve life is just so disrespectful. Some people can survive, some people can't. But I don't think any airline, like it'd be hard for me to try to do 24 hours. So I'm just thankful that my airline has more than just the, like they have only 2. They don't have the 24-hour period. So they do give us a chance to pick. Okay, guys, I'm sorry. I was looking at my phone give you. Okay, so reserve A, already reserved. It is from 5 a.m. to 11 a.m. It can be extended to 1. So remember, everyone, you can be extended up to 2 hours. Reserve B is 8 o'clock. Seats to 1400, so 8 to 2. Yeah, 8 to 2. And you can be extended up to 4. Reserve C is 1 a.m. to 7 p.m. And again, you could be, I'm sorry, 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. And you can be extended to 9 o'clock. And then the last one, guys, is 7 p.m. to 1 a.m. And you can be extended to 2 hours. So that is the ready reserve at the airport. But just take into consideration, guys, that reserve life, you have no control until you get a line. Always do the research about the reserve period, how you're getting paid. Because like with my airline, when we do ready reserve at the airport, if I sit for 6 hours, I only get credit for 3. You see what I'm saying? So you always want to just know what you're getting yourself into. The reserve life is not made for everyone. It will break you or it will make you. The choice is all yours, guys. But this is the part of being a flight attendant, boo. So probation for any airlines is tough. With my airlines, we are on probation for 9 months. So just like with any job, you can be released without any type of warning, any type of consent. They can let you go. So 9 months is a very long time, and I have to tread lightly. That is the reason why I'm trying to figure out what I am able to and what I am not able to vlog, because I love my job. I've come too far to get fired for something that I could have prevented. Probation really will test you. You have to be very careful and walk on eggshells. For my airline, guys, I have to be mindful of what I say, how I look, what people hear. Passengers can be offended by anything. You don't want no kind of complaints. You don't want to be on top of the radar. You don't want anyone to fire you over something so small that could have been prevented. And I just found out that while I'm on probation, we have a union. The union really can't defend me or cover me until I am off that probation period. I believe they can give me advice, kind of, guide me to my answer, but there's really no help. I can't file a grievance or get support. So that probation period, guys, of 9 months is a long time. I know of an airline where their probation period is a year. But the aviation world is not like the last job that I was at. My last job, probation was 90 days. Well, with my last job, I've been with this job for 3 months. I would have been on probation. But I have to prove myself. Just like that dude on the 5 Heartbeats. Y'all remember when JT and Doc was playing Shy Boy? And then the husband came. He said, every night I got to prove my love. Because she ran off with Doc. That's how, no, she ran off with JT. Yeah, she ran off with JT when I was playing Shy Boy. So that's what I'm saying is that every day I gotta prove myself to my airline. You pass, you got a training, you think you out in the clear. You got this. No, you are on probation. You are still being watched. Think of probation like when someone has an ankle monitor on. Like they monitor you. Any little thing can get you fired. That's why again, guys, I gotta be careful with these vlogs because I don't want to become to the point where they are watching me, the feds are watching me, they're looking at my every move. I do not want to represent my airline in any type of light because I am not a representative. I am merely an employee who has views and opinions that my airline does not support because they are not a part of this. This is all my opinion, not my employer. So let me be very clear. If I am saying something incorrect, I will fact check myself. But you got to take into consideration, do your research about the airline you're applying to, about the probation period. Always want to look at the contract. You always want to make sure that you're doing everything according to what is set in stone with the policy. With my airline, you can't be fired for a failed drug test. You can't be fired for a failed drug test, alcohol. I mean, there's so many things that on probation there is no excuse for. Like there's nothing that we can do to save you, the union. So you just want to be mindful of that. Always be on your P's and Q's, stay on your toes, be compliant with your uniform, with your nails, everything they taught you in training, do. Some people will get out on, and start flying, and everything they tell you in training, just forget. You start doing shortcuts, you start doing things, different. No, I still follow my manual. I still read my speeches verbatim. I don't paraphrase. I don't want to add words, take away words, because guys, I am on probation. I don't want to give them a reason to let me go. So I am going to stay compliant even past probation. I just want to make sure that all my T's are crossed, all my I's are dotted. I don't want to give them a reason to let me go. So just be mindful of that with everything that you do. You never know who's watching, and this even goes for me. I really can't talk too much about it. But again, even with my videos, I want to make sure I am compliant, boo. That's why if there's any changes that are coming with my video, you guys know it's not coming from me. It is above me at this point, guys. If I want to maintain being a flight attendant, I have to follow the rules. So probation period, guys, is a period of time where it's going to show you, do you love your job, or are you just infatuated with the benefits? So think about it. Once you get out of training, you pass your IOE, you have a very, very short amount of time to move, right? Moving is a part of something that I wasn't really too familiar with. Now, with my airline, we have 5 bases: Denver, Las Vegas, MCO, Chicago, Philly, Trenton, okay? I decided to move to Denver. Now remember, I'm from Phoenix, Arizona, so I could have went to Vegas or Denver. I decided to stay in Denver because that is the hub for my airline. I want to fly a lot. I just want to be in Denver. With some airlines, you may be moving to a completely new city or state you've never been to. You have a very small amount of time to get these accommodations in order to move successfully. When I was in training, guys, like not only do you have to focus on passing and maintaining a 90% or better grade, right? So you don't have a retake, but you got to decide, are you going to move to an apartment? Are you going to have a roommate? Are you going to do a crash pad? Where are you going to find one? So you got all these things to focus on while you are training. So when I got Denver, actually my whole class got Denver, I had to decide, well, how was I going to do this move? I have a place in Phoenix, and then I had to move to Denver. Paying rent in 2 places is impossible for me because I'm not making the money that I once made. Financially, that is not a good thing. So I end up moving out, putting my stuff in storage, taking a suitcase to Denver. And that's how I did it. Now I have a car back home. I had to decide, do I want to drive my car to Denver or keep it with my dad? My dad has my car. So I'm paying for insurance of $250, car payment of $341 just for it to sit in my dad's garage, and he might start it up a couple of times for me. He might drive it around just to get the engine going and all that. But these are choices you have to make. Some people drove their car from their home state to where they're based at. I didn't do that. I mean, one, I don't trust myself to drive that long, and two, I don't want to put miles on my car since I just got this car in 2018. Another thing I had to think about was the expense. Now, when I'm in Denver, guys, I hardly go anywhere. If I need to go somewhere, I got that crash pad, right? It's not like I got to pay for a bus, train, Uber, or Lyft to take me to the airport. We got the crash pad. And our owner, Don, will allow us to take the crash pad car within a 10-mile radius. So everything that I need is within a 10-mile radius. Walmart, get my nails done. I can order stuff online. So I'm good. I really have no need for my car. Had it been a different situation where I had no way to get to the airport, I had no way to get around, then I would have brought my car to Denver. But then I gotta think about the snow. Since my car is in Arizona, we deal with heat, not snow. That's a whole nother thing. I gotta get all weather tires, etc., because I'm not used to the snow. So there's a lot to consider. Then based on my mileage, so with my airline, they gave me 2 days to move to my base. Based on the commute from Arizona to Denver, they decided 2 days. So the minimum is 2, the max is 5, depending on the distance. So I got 2 days to move. So I did a good job with my choice. Not quite sure. Once I get a place out here in Denver, once I become more established, once I become more senior and I hold a line, then I can make moves. But right now, guys, this is how I'm living my life. It's out of a suitcase. I'll go home to Arizona to change clothes, to get stuff that I need, but primarily this is how it is. Some people don't like living out of a suitcase. Some people don't like crash pads, and that's a whole nother thing. So guys, a crash pad is a dwelling where multiple people stay in the same space. So in my crash pad, I have Southwest, I have United, I have SkyWest, I have Ramp Agents. We had a pilot, and then I have my airline that is there. I think those are the only airlines that I can recall. But with that being said, that can be overwhelming for anybody. Anyone can be overwhelmed by that if you're used to your own personal space. Like, guys, I'm used to having my own bathroom. I don't have home court advantage when I'm at this crash pad. That's not my shower. That's not my toilet. So I always sanitize and I use it just as if I was at a hotel. I don't sit down completely on the seat. I wipe it down, right? Because it's community. It's like going to a public restroom, right? But some people, it can be a little bit overwhelming. Then you have to decide with the crash pad, is it a hot bed or a cold bed? Now guys, a cold bed means the bed is yours. As long as you're there, that's your covers, that's your bed. A hot bed, I think of it like first come, first serve. Like for instance, with my crash pad, I want to say it's a hot bed. Yeah, I would say it's a hot bed. So the owner has designed where the linen stays the same. So that's the one thing I like, is that my covers will always stay with me until I leave. So if I'm assigned a certain sheet and comforter, it follows me in my pillow. The bed might change, meaning I might be on the top bunk, the bottom bunk, I might be on the side air mattress, but the bedding always stays the same. And I have no issue with that. As long as I have a place to lay my head, we're good. Some crash pads, you got to provide your own linen. My crash pad, the owner has provided towels and linen. I love where I stay. I never thought I would be used to this, but I love it. My crash pad is awesome. I never have to worry about food unless I choose to starve. There's Wi-Fi. There's friends I've made from different airlines, different walks of life, so I like it. Some people may not like it, but that's the life. But you have to figure all this out while you're in training, and your time is very limited. Most airlines, they don't help you with looking for a crash pad. They don't help you with accommodations. You could talk to other flight attendants or go to like Crash Pad 411 or different websites for assistance, but that's not their job. Their job is to get you through training. What happens after training, boo, is all up to you. That's what it really is, and it can be overwhelming. So just take that into consideration, because I did not know. It's a whole different field moving. It could be a very lonely process. So just prepare yourself for all these unexpected changes, and they start in training. I cannot stress this enough. Before you apply for any airline, do your research. Do your research, guys. I think what kills me, what I don't understand, is some people will go to a grocery store, pick up an ingredient or bottle or like anything, any product, read the back and see what they put into their body. Some people will do that with shampoo, deodorant, right? You'll do it before you go to a restaurant to look at the ratings, the reviews, or before you go to an apartment. But when it comes to a job like this, some people do not do the research, and then they're surprised about what they're getting themselves into. Guys, before I applied to all these airlines, I did my research. I went to Glassdoor. I went to there's another Glassdoor, and there was another review site I went to. I can't think of on the top of my head, but what I'm saying is that I looked at the employees' opinions. I looked at the contracts of those airlines. I looked at the things they were offering, and I compared to what I was looking for and how it would meet my needs. Think about it like this, guys. As much as you guys apply to these airlines, they need you as much as you need them. These airlines are only as successful as their employees. The company really is involved or revolves around us. Good customer service. I mean, it is our passengers, but we keep everything flowing. When you have a good crew, you do more things. You have more work that's being done. You are the face of that company. So don't think they need you as much as you need them. Like, it's a team effort. We all need to work together. But you need to do your research and just see what you're getting yourself into. Things you need to ask yourself is, how much would I be making? How long is the probation period? Where are the bases at? Is there a union? That's big. Do you have any type of representation? How is their reserve life? How is their probation period? Like, you have to look at the contract and see. You don't want to go into a job and not know what you are getting yourself into. Think of this, give you some good examples, guys, because I'm all about movies. Think about Ice Cube, NWA, right? All the other members signed that contract that Jerry Heller gave them. Ice Cube is the only one who said, you know what? Let me have my lawyer look at this. But see, he was smart. He wasn't just going to sign anything without knowing what he was signing. And good thing he didn't, because he would have been, lost a lot of money, right? He would have been screwed. But you have to do that. Look at the contract. Look at that company. What is their motto? What is the environment? How do employees feel about working there? Yes, these review sites like Glassdoor and other reviews can be a negative effect. But one thing I've come to realize, guys, is that these really top airlines, they don't have a lot turnover rate. You got to look at some of these airlines that they have high retention, and you ask yourself, well, why are people leaving? Why are people leaving? They'll tell you why. People are angry. If you went to a restaurant and it was 1 star and you read reviews about them being bugs in the food, poor service, bad hygiene, you would not go there. You got to do the same thing for this career. If you're seeing red flags, you got to ask yourself why. Why has this airline only kept employees for less than 6 months? What is going on? Because you got to think about the sacrifice you're going to make. Why would you want to work somewhere where you're not happy? Your job reflects everything about the airline. You represent that airline. If you're not happy, if you're disgruntled, that doesn't make the company look good. Why would a passenger want to fly with your airline if they see you and you're like this? Hi. You got an attitude. That doesn't do good. You got to understand that. So take your time, do your research, and ask yourself, is that the best fit? Now, you can apply to many airlines as you want, because I did. But when I think about it, guys, the right choice was made. Because had I worked with some of those airlines, I don't think I would be happy. You see, I was so desperate. I just wanted to get my foot in the door. But you really got to take the time to outweigh the pros and the cons. Because you are investing your time, energy, and sacrificing a lot for that airline. Will they do the same for you? Do they have good benefits? How's the insurance plan? How's the dental plan? Can your family benefit from this change in your career? Is it going to be a hard time for you to commute? How long will you be in training? These are things you have to ask yourself. You have to really sit down and decide what is the best decision for you. And remember that, guys, even though you have to be selfish with this career, it not only affects your life, but it affects the ones that you love. So if you have a family, you got to talk it over with your spouse, kids, friends, whatever. But the choices you make affects everybody. So just do your research. Don't sell yourself out for the first airline because they say yes. Always be like, you can respectfully turn down a job. If it's not the right time, it's not the right time. The good thing about this industry is that there's so many airlines. It just all depends on which is the best fit for you. The culture, the background, everything, guys. You have to sit and just really outweigh the pros and the cons. So take your time with this. If you don't get on at first, don't give up. Keep trying. Learn from your mistakes. Bounce back and come back stronger and better. Tell yourself you're going to get that CJO. Tell yourself we're going to make it through training and you're going to be the best flight attendant. It's just, it all takes time, but guys, you got to do your research. I can't stress that enough. Don't be like TLC. You sign a contract with Pebbles and here you guys driving old cars and people think, man, I thought y'all had money. Think about it, guys. Everything has to be taken into consideration. Do your research. The more you know, the better decision you can make. And the very last point that I have to make on this very long video is, guys, the grass may not be greener on the other side. And this is exactly what I mean. So we have many options, right? So for instance, I can only speak from personal experience. When I first applied, wanted to be a flight attendant, the first one I applied for was United, then American, then Mesa, then SkyWest, and the last was my airline. So you see, my top choice was United, second choice American, Mesa, etc., etc. You guys see what I'm going with? Some people will do their second choice, third choice, because they want that top spot. And when that top spot opens, they will risk what they have going to jump to that airline. Guys, I can't stress this enough. And I'm not speaking from experience because this is not me, but with some people I know. So already there's some classmates of mine. We are 3 months, a little over 3 months in our job, and they're already trying to jump ship. I understand that this may not be the first choice, whatever airline you select, but guys, get your foot in the door, gain experience before you start jumping from airline to airline. I mean, one, it doesn't look good. Just my personal opinion. If I was an employer and I see you've only been with a company for 2.5 months, I'm going to question, why did you leave? That would be a red flag for that employer. Like, wow, you have no loyalty. If you are ready to jump ship because you don't like the time of reserve or whatever the reason might be, they may not want to hire you because they think old habits don't die. You might do that to us, right? And see, I've never been a job hopper. My last job I was at 2.5 years, never missed a day. My job before that, working at another doctor's office, I was there 2.5 years. So I have a history of being loyal to my employer. When I work with a company, I always tell myself I want to retire. I'm going to give them 100% of myself because I love what I do. It's just that things didn't work out with the last job because my dream was to be a flight attendant, and it was just the wrong time. But I got an opportunity and I applied. So no matter what airline you choose, stick it out. And the only reason why I'm saying this, guys, is just think about it from a logical point of view. You sacrifice your time and effort to go into training. You had to make all types of sacrifices to even get to that point, right? Then you go through training, you pass your IOE, you start flying. Yes, I know you're not going to like it, guys. For any airline, you're not going to like it for the reserve period. It's going to be really bad. You're going to want to leave, but that's with any airline. Why leave one airline, go through that all again, and you may or may not make it? Think about that. You pass this training, you're in. Now you're working towards becoming, getting seniority, and depending on the amount of time you're there. Like for me, I am already past 3 months. Why would I leave my airline to go through all of this again? The stress of training, the stress of finding a place to stay, the stress of making money. It's just not worth it. The grass may not be greener on the other side. Yes, I'm not going to lie to you guys and say that this was my first choice. It was not. It was not. I forgot about my airline. I totally forgot about my airline until they sent me an email to do a phone interview. But guys, in the end, I made the best decision. I am in love with my job. I love my airline. This is my first airline. Now, I can't say later on down the line I may not leave, but right now, I'm not interested in jumping from airline to airline. That is not me. Some people are. This time of the year, United, there's other airlines that are hiring, I assume, right? You guys are probably getting those interviews, do a video interview, or go to a face-to-face or phone interview, whatever. Guys, I'm not saying don't appreciate, don't do it. But ask yourself, do I really want to go through the stress again? Now, if you apply to one airline like I did, right? And I don't want to say you're cheating, but this is your dream airline, but while you're waiting for them to respond, you did what I did. You applied to several. That's okay. But if you are on and active and you know the job duties and you're doing well, why risk that and do that all over again? And I'm not saying not to have faith in yourself. I'm not saying don't believe in yourself. What I'm saying is the reality is you might go through that training and you may not make it. Now you've lost that job. You didn't get on with this job. Now you're back to square one. Now, if you have money that you save for a rainy day or a cloudy day and you're able to make that chance and take that gamble, by all means do it. Some people don't have that plan. They just see, ooh, Delta is hiring. They're paying X amount of dollars. Ooh, United is hiring. They're paying X amount of dollars. I'm going to jump ship. But boo, you haven't even went through training yet. It's easy to get a CJO. It's hard to go through that training. There was a lot of people, guys, and this is a true story. When I got my CJO with my airline, there were people that I kept in contact with, right? And I got my CJO May the 3rd. So between May the 3rd, August the 5th, right? Trading. All those months went by. Some of those people went to another airline because they didn't want to wait, or their background came back dirty. Drug tested, they didn't pass. But there was changes that happened from May to August. So for the ones who survived, once we went through that training, I'm like, I would never do this again. It's just too much. And just because an airline's training is longer than mine doesn't necessarily mean it's easy. I mean, guys, there's a lot of testing that you don't understand. One of the hardest tests for me, I think, with any airline is that emergency equipment. You know, there's some airlines, they have a lot of airplanes. I don't know how you can remember everything on that aircraft when it's multiple airplanes. In my case, there's only 3 airplanes we fly our aircraft, and they're Airbuses, 319, 320, 321. But if I had 7 or 8, I don't want to think about it. But I'm not going to take that risk. So you have to make that choice for yourself. Do you want to put yourself through that stress again? Do you want to have your family in that stress again? Because again, it affected my dad. I would call my dad from training crying. Oh, Dad, they're going to send me home, Dad. You know, I'm just crying to him, being negative. I won't do it again. So this is why I'm saying that. The grass may not be greener on the other side. Like TLC said, don't go chasing waterfalls. Stick to the rivers and the lakes and the airlines that you are used to. If it's good, stick it out. But if it's bad, did you do your research? That could have been prevented. You didn't know about that? Did you take the time to even know about the company? Like, these are things that I think about. I know the pros and cons of my airline. I do. But I'm going to stick it out, guys, because I love my job. And in time, after I put my time in, if I don't feel like it's the best fit, I have every right to go ahead and switch airlines. But you haven't given it a chance, boo. You're only 3 months in and you're trying to jump ship. How do you know it's going to be better with that airline? What if it's worse? And you lost a good job, a good company. Now you got to do this all over again. And all that hopping around, guys, believe it or not, your reputation is everything. And if an employer saw that in the last 6 months you've been at 2 different airlines, boo, they may not hire you. You might kill yourself for a chance. So just take that into consideration, guys. There's no airline that is 100% perfect. No matter how many good points you can think about an airline, I'm pretty sure there's someone who thinks different. So just keep that in mind. But at the end of the day, if you outweigh the pros and cons, you have to make that choice. Is that airline the best fit for you? But before you start running out that relationship, ask yourself, can it be saved? If you feel like at the end of the day, this doesn't benefit you, this doesn't make you feel the way you do, then you got to make that jump. But just don't be like some people and risk it all for nothing. Because yes, everyone wants to make more money. I want to fly international, right? I want to do more things, but I'm early in my career. I don't want to stop my blessing because I'm chasing money. Because money, at the end of the day, money can't buy you happiness. Yes, your paycheck will look good, but are you happy? There's some people who fly and they make good money, but they hate their job. They don't like the airline that they're with. I'm not there. I don't think I will ever be there. You know, I always try to look at the good. So just take that into consideration, guys, that the grass may not be greener on the other side. You don't want to, again, risk it all to end up with nothing. So guys, these are just some tips and things I've learned. Give me your feedback. I think I said everything, but this is a very long video. So it is 9:22. I'm going to call it a night, boo. I just wanted to do this while I'm on this layover. So I hope you enjoyed the video. You guys know how to reach out to me, Instagram, Facebook, and I will always be honest with you guys without getting myself in trouble. Because, boo, I got 6 months left on probation, and I do not want to get fired. So thank you guys so much. I hope you have a good night, and I love you all. Bye.